So Mayday signal, you say?
Yeah, a Mayday signal, actually.
Typical.
Well, the nice thing is if it's a trap, we're already in trouble. Probably with the same people, so.
It's a trap. Welcome back to actual play, Scum and Villainy, Stardancer, part 3 of episode 5. So many things. So many colons in that sentence.
Of episode 5, also called We're in Trouble.
Name of like every episode though to be real.
Yeah, that's fair. Act 3 is always We're in Trouble.
I like to quote a line from Harry Dresden and say, "The building's on fire and it's not my fault."
Ooh, but
I feel like it's not really any of our faults.
Oh, it's kind of my fault.
This time.
That one. I was really thinking about what Sean had to say about that one. Just maybe.
So I think if we can have like a little interstitial before the action, like jumps up again. Faye comes down to the engine rooms. We're floating. We're waiting for the things to
There's like a big fiery mass coming past you, and you know it's going to be done in 5 minutes. So you have like a couple minutes to run down.
Exactly. She comes down. She's like hanging from the
jam.
From the jam. Her jacket's lifted up, and she says, "So, we live in interesting times."
And so I imagine what you're coming in on is like maybe Boz and I are facing each other in profile, and Boz is like medicating my burned face. And so when you come down and say something,
we're like
turn. And you see my face for the first time.
Oh my God, what happened to your face?
She
says immediately.
I fixed the ship. What's going on?
Approving nod.
They react to somebody being hurt. Not really well. She doesn't. She's like, "Are you okay?" And she like looks at Boz like pointedly, like, "I don't want to look at your burned face."
Nice.
That beautiful burned face. Anyway, Faye doesn't say that. That's Faye's inner monologue.
Yes.
And she says, "There's a Mayday signal out there." Now, I know we're not exactly in the safest of places to pick up strangers, hitchhikers, but if I was stuck out in a supernova, surrounded by pirates, going to be incinerated at any moment, and there was a crew that happened to come by, I would be very grateful to them.
It's weird that you're suggesting this, but yes, of course.
Great.
Look at Lauren.
Lauren's kind of like, it can't get much worse than this, right?
Well, we're not incinerated, so I would disagree. But are we about ready
a little incinerated?
I'm still like avoiding looking at Lauren. I'm like, well, I'm sure it'll be fine, right?
Yeah, it will be.
There's skin grafts for that.
Won't need it.
Okay, I'm going. Are we about to get online?
Sure. I think it stopped doing the bad thing.
All right. So Faye darts back up and starts moving. Is the place close enough that we can go there under regular speed, or do we need to jump into a hyperspace?
No, you can definitely go under regular speed. Mind you that the whole crossing through the Ring of Fire is going to take multiple hours, but in a TV show, we don't like do that over the course of 100 rolls. We just say like, okay, so we see you like diving in and out and doing some stuff. So what I'm going to tell you is you're trying to go into a bad spot. So I'm going to ask you to make a helm roll. And
that seems reasonable.
I do have a devil's bargain if you want one, just in case you want one.
Do I ever not want one?
You often do.
It doesn't seem to matter. My dice are just not the way they used to be. I don't know what roll 20 got I pissed off.
But so like I think that what happens is we don't have secret Adam hacks. Although I have a pro person, and this is a totally legit game, so I don't know. I didn't see the like roll well option in my
I forgot to check that on this one.
So I what's gonna happen is you're gonna have to go into some of the nastiest stellar matter and try and like dodge through places that you really shouldn't. So this is going to be a hard roll. But I'll give you a devil's bargain. You're also headed directly towards where the box wants you to go. And you can tick another mark on the box clock and it'll help guide you.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's so good.
Take that.
definitely.
Nothing can go wrong there.
Can I while I'm doing this, since you know what? This is perfect. We cut to me doing it because Boz is still taking care of Lauren, if this is okay. And when we cut to Faye in the helm, you see like there's this like kind of maybe like a slight tinge of a green glow that's like casting on the right side of her jaw, and then the camera sort of pans around and she's on the helm, and the containing box is sitting on the co-pilot seat open, and she like reaches over and kind of like nudges, like taps it, and then okay, and like she's like tapping herself, and then to like get a glimpse of where to go.
I think that there's probably a really cool special effect where we see through your eyes and all the flames disappear and then they zoom back in and you see
Nice.
almost a path
Like
of
breath.
stars through the map.
Wow.
So good.
I love it.
Mhm.
So go ahead, give me a helm roll.
What's the
+1D.
position?
I would say desperate, but I don't think it is anymore. I think it's risky because you're using the box.
Cool.
I mean, it's risky. You're still flying through stellar matter, and
Right.
you're half distracted because sometimes your eyes are filled with stars.
Right.
That's so good.
Getting better.
Risky, standard. I'm taking one for the devil's bargain. Do you think I should spend a gambit on this? We have two
I
left.
feel like this is a pretty dangerous roll that could damage your ship.
Yeah,
Yes.
I feel like I think the last one's going to be to talk to pirates because I have a feeling that might happen too. But I'm gonna risky, standard, 2 bonus dice.
So I'm going to give you a cool, flavorful thing while you're setting up your roll.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my!
Yep.
5521. Yes, I know what the complication is. You're going to make it through. Your ship is not going to take damage. The stars in your eyes guide you, and then something bad happens, which I'll explain here in a second. So, as you approach the core between the stars, where this point is that the box has labeled, your comms start projecting an odd noise that you haven't heard before. And it sounds like some sort of like Titanic beast, or maybe like groaning and moaning, right? So like you can see maybe for a split second, like in your mind, you can be like, oh, this is why they think there's a dragon in here, because you get
Because there's some weird noise.
broadcast on your
Yeah.
comms.
They
right?
Totally.
think.
I
But
don't believe in no dragon.
the camera shifts away for a split second to your cargo bay, and you see Bar Hazuk looks up with like one of his like robot eyes like rotates, and he looks at the comms, and he goes, "Is that?" And then it cuts back to Faye like desperately flying through like solar energy and like the ship getting bathed in it, and like all of your lights are red and everything, and then you pop out through the wall, and there's this center of calm in the center there, and what you see is that there is this. It's a pretty large ship. It's not huge. It's like frigate maybe sized, and it's of. I'm sorry, I have a very loving cat that keeps
No
pestering.
worries.
That's a good problem.
Kitty's welcome on.
Yeah, right. So there's this huge ship of a type that you haven't seen before. As a matter of fact, it's of a make and a model that you've never seen before. It's not of any xenotype that has specific kinds of ships, and it's definitely not Starsmith. And for a split second, your brain goes, "Wait, is that a precursor ship?" And then you see that attached to it, sort of almost like held in these like weird glowing bits, are like smaller ships, like husks of ships around it. And there's one ship in particular that is currently like attached to its hull that you is projecting that Mayday signal. And as soon as you pop out of the corona and like you get close enough to them, you hear the like help, like we've been captured by some gravity well, we don't know what the hell this thing is. Like the message cleans up immediately. So like there's obviously people that are alive that are talking straight off that ship, and you're like, oh, and then the gravity latch catches you and starts drawing your ship in, which is what the vibe complication is.
Right.
No.
Trapped in the gravity well. Love it. I could
Birds will be
resist-
fine because Bird eats bones.
I could resist that, but it seems to me like resisting that would actually involve crazy swerving away from it and we want to go inside it. So I don't think I'm going to resist that, because that's the center of the gravity well is where all this is happening, right? Like, it's not like I'm getting pulled away from these people that are Mayday.
Yeah, you're getting pulled towards.
Of course, that means we probably can't get out, and we're going to be just as stuck as they are. But
We're very
we,
clever.
we have
Everything
something
will be
they
okay.
don't have. Well, we have two things they don't have. One of which is Bar Hazook. The other of which is the box that wants you to go there.
And the other of which is a pony dog.
Boom.
True.
So I think so what happens is when it clears up and like we suddenly realize we're on the gravity well, or like we feel the lurch of it, there's this heavy thud as the box, as the containing box that was on the co-pilot seat slides out, because we've been doing all this crazy whatnot, and things like dunk, and she's like, oh shit, and then looks up and we're in it. We're stuck in the gravity well. Like, she might have been able to like swerve away in time, but the box landed on and like distracted her, and she's like, oh. And then we just start getting pulled in.
All right. So the ship is going to bring you in, and I'm going to give you like some views through your like portholes and like out of your cabin. So you see that there are some drones and such on the other ship that seem to be essentially cutting apart its outside. And yeah, this ship is drawing you into essentially like a docking position, but you can only assume that a similar thing is going to happen to you in short order. So yeah, the your ship gets pulled in. You hear the docking clamps attach. You hear the like essentially like the airlock cycle. What are you folks doing?
I think before because the comms are now clear, I think before we hit it, like as we're getting pulled in, Faye is trying to open up. And if it's cool, I'd like it if, by this point, Lauren and Boz could be up there so we can all do this. So I'm trying to open up to communicate with them, since
awesome.
there's no interference.
Yeah, no problem. You just do it. Like there's no roll. You guys are in short enough range that walkie-talkies will friggin' work.
Right.
The only problem is time is an issue because the ship's being dismantled, so parts are going to get damaged. So eventually the comms tower is just going to get eaten, and then they won't have it.
Before then, we're like, who's out there? Who are you?
So the ship says, he's like, oh, thank God. We thought that you were going to be pirates, but we hope that even if the pirates raided our ship and took everything we had, they might save our lives. They give you a designation. They say like, we are the, it's going to be the, it's going to be the USS Firebird or whatever. Is like, we're a science vessel. We were investigating the corona and the flame. We heard a call from inside here, and we came to investigate. And this thing just won't let us leave. It keeps trying to cannibalize our ship parts. At this point, our engines are completely non-functional. Can you please rescue us?
Well, we might be. Actually, Boz and Lauren are in there as well. So I don't want to dominate it. I've got the comms open, but do either of you want to respond, or do you want?
Yeah, I mean, I think I say we'd be happy to take you aboard, but we're also being locked in. Do you have any information about this vessel?
We have some equipment for studying and monitoring gravimetric disturbances on our ship. We might be able to work with you to try and like break the latch, but at this point, even if we broke it for ourselves, we couldn't get away. We can't even pass through the stellar matter wall, even though our ship was ostensibly designed exactly for that. And they say like, yeah, we might be able to help you, but I have to warn you, as soon as you open your doors, there's a whole ton of killer robots in there.
Killer robots?
Yeah.
Can we, do we have, I'm going to try and turn on our thrusters. I know we're getting pulled into it, but I'm going to try and change our trajectory so we get pulled into it, but then butt up against their ship instead of getting pulled into the docking part that it wants us to. Can I skirt it and go sort of
like tugging at your leash?
Yeah, exactly. It's pulling us in. I'm going to try and just angle our trajectory so we still hit it, but we hit it adjacent to or on top of or next to their ship.
Yeah, you can. Why don't you give me a controlled helm roll?
Cool. And I'm definitely, firing all our thrusters full blast. I'm like, okay, we're coming in. We're gonna try and dock on top of you and see if we can connect our ships.
I think as you're having that conversation, I go find Barhazuk to ask him about these robots and if he knows anything about them.
So you find Barhazuk, and he says, "What was that? Where are we?" And he's like trying to peek outside of a porthole.
I bring him with us back up. It looks like we successfully docked on top of their ship.
He says, "Oh, yes, you did. Cool. So you're not going to have to go inside the ancient vessel there.
Well, we don't have to.
For now.
There's no
You
saying.
don't have to. But you pull and you tug and you latch onto their ship, and the big ship doesn't seem to care too much because you're still technically inside the net, and
Mhm.
when it's done cannibalizing this ship, it might just switch over. So
Yeah.
you're not leaving, and
different.
that's okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't pull your ship apart or attack you or anything for doing that, but it does give kind of an annoyed roar. And Barzik points at that and says, like, that sounds like somebody I heard about a long time ago.
Who's that?
It's not an organic. It's one of us. It's a very old one of us.
It's a very big one of you. Look at the.
Barzik, do you know why it would be doing what it's doing? Is there anything that we could say to it to get us out of this situation?
So he'll ask you, he says, how much do you know about Urbots? Actually, before he says that and goes into, Strush gets 2 minutes of exposition, he looks at Faye and goes, big? And he looks at the ship and he goes like, you judge us by our outward appearances. And he says, you should learn better, little organic. All of us are the same on the inside, even you. And he taps at your chest.
Stagger.
Hey, Buster. Faye is disgruntled, but
he makes the sound of grinding gears, which, as I mentioned previously, is his happy noise.
Yeah.
But yes, he asks Loren, how much do you know about Urbots?
I know that Urbots kind of have a precursor core, and that you are mystic and intelligent beings that have been around for a long time.
He grabs one of his chest plates and opens it, and you realize that there is essentially like this, I don't know, it's like a glass pyramid with a little like glowing circle that has circuitry kind of a la Tron inside it. It's got like 3-dimensional layers upon layers of circuitry in it. But more importantly, what it has these tendrils of light that extend out of it and go into his body, where like when he opens his arm, you'll see that it's running amongst his machinery and things like that. And what he says to you is that he says, all of us, he says, this is my heart, the equivalent of a beating soul. And all of us have a drive to learn and to interface with the bodies that we are granted and given. He says, I do not know what's happening with that ship, but if I were to open my veins and allow myself to extend into it, I might be able to communicate with it on your behalf.
Would that be safe for you to do?
He makes that grinding noise. And he says, is flying through stellar matter safe for you? You are willing to help my people. I would be a poor friend if I did not do the same in return.
Also, we can't exactly help as people if we've been torn to bits by space robots. Just saying.
He looks outside of your hull and he says, those are not Urbots, those are drones. And he says drones in the same voice that Loren says, those are things at Yaru.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What he literally means is like,
they're not intelligent.
and it's doing thing, and it has a program, but there's no person inside it.
It doesn't have a soul.
Right. Yeah. I stick with space robots.
Barzak, we would be so grateful if you would be willing to do that, and if there's anything that we can do to support you or make it.
Well,
How do we
let's see if we
dangerous?
can get on board and what the scenario is. I will need to find some place to interface. I can't just touch a wall. I am not the Prime.
All right. Have we docked with the other ship, the Firebird?
I think that's a good time for the of our ships kind of bumping and grinding, not in a sexy way at all.
It's actually cringeworthy at this
yeah,
juncture.
cringeworthy.
Damage more to the fresh paint.
Yeah, metal. Yeah, awful.
Right,
good.
our landing gear sticking into the top of their hull. Yeah, I'm like, yep, we're there.
Cool. So there's obviously going to be the threat that your ship is going to get attacked by space robots.
Mhm.
But for the moment, you can cycle your airlock and board the other ship if you want and talk to people on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing to do first. I think getting on the ship would be great to do after we can get, or as I think the first thing we should do is try and get them and their equipment onto the Stardancer, because we have space, we got cargo bays and smuggling components, and
I don't really care about their equipment, but I do care about the food.
well, their equipment they
think
said
they're-
might help us break the gravitational field.
Yeah.
I'm
Might
not
be
saying their
very
equipment because I'm
helpful.
greedy, although I'm totally greedy.
Sure.
They're definitely paying for this boost out here. But if they have equipment that'll help us get free.
Cool.
Awesome. So yeah, the airlock cycle, and there's people on the other side. Most of them are wearing spacesuits because they're smart and they don't know what the atmosphere in this giant ship is like. But notably, their spacesuits have this all have a very uniform look, because spacesuits on a ship frequently all look the same, unless you're scoundrels or pirates or something, in which case you might have customized ones. But theirs are all this like dark purple, and like the lights inside their visors are green, and they have this like weird green kind of like flame motif that is done on them. But they don't look like badasses. They look like scientists in cool suits.
Got it.
So
They look like cool nerds.
they're lined up, and you know they start bringing in, they have crates and things there, and it's obvious that instead of bringing things like important life-giving supplies, they're putting scientific equipment on first.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're bringing some stuff on board. Some of it I don't want to like give away too much or anything, but I'm just gonna flavor it here. Some of it they try and keep you from mucking with. You know, if you try and approach it, they're like, no, we got this. It's very, very sensitive. Yeah, they're bringing stuff aboard. They're like, oh, thank God. How did you find us? You know, like we set that out, not even expecting anything to happen. Like, this ship's insane. I don't even know what it's doing. It's like ripping our ship apart. Man, when we opened our airlock to try and go in, like the first person got ripped apart, and they were trying to use the organics like inside the ship. It's nuts. I don't know what's going on here. Like, they're clearly just like frightened and frustrated and incredibly grateful. And like one of them's even crying, and you know, like that's kind of what you're getting.
Mm-hmm. I think I find one that's more composed, and I ask them, is there a way for us, if we go through your ship, can we get into the other ship?
Yes, I mean, we barricaded the door, but the drones on the other side have been cutting into it for like the past like 15-20 minutes. Eventually they're going to get through. You're going to cycle it, but if you really want to, just make sure we're on board here before you do that. And you see a couple of them are like, some of them have like, they have insignia, almost like they have rank or identifying marks. And two of them are like dragging on like one particular scientific box, and one was like, excuse me, sir. Like, because Lauren is presenting as like a person talking to him of some sort of authority. They're like, you mentioned that you wanted to break the gravitic field. We're probably going to have to access your engine room. Could you please point us in the right way?
Yes, and Lauren just shows them, which
Yeah. I'm
seeing
like
face right now.
I'm like, oh, I'll take care of that, Lauren. Why don't you go address the thing Balazar needed? I'll get them down there.
All right, great. Thanks, Faye.
You got it. So this person seems like they're in charge. this person is like, excuse me, I'm going to need to exit your engine room. Do they have any designation that would indicate they have rank?
So I would say that, yeah, they're not the highest ranked here. So are you going by what looks to be their ranking system, or are you going by the person that seems to have their shit together and is ordering everyone around?
I'm going by the latter.
Cool. Then this dude seems like for some reason he could have been a lumberjack, like one of those like sweet rugged looking lumberjack people, but like for whatever reason he decided to become a scientist instead.
Cool.
And so like there's that person, and there's this like lady who, for all intents and purposes, even though she seems a little shaken, has ice water in her veins that is talking to Lauren. The two of them seem to be the most senior or in charge in some ways. But this dude, like I said, he has special markers. So I don't know. You can pick either one of them.
I think I'm just going to show him to the engine room and then talk to her.
Cool.
And
Yeah.
just, like, get him the thing he needs.
He and one other person that also has the same like,
Special
sigil.
marker.
Yeah. It's like a sigil. It's in the same green that their like masks lit up on, but it's like an extra mark that they have on their shoulders. And both of them pick up several like boxes that are like extra insulated and whatnot. And, you know, they bring them along, and they have like locks and latches and other nonsense on top of them that obviously means that they're more secure.
Right. I like grab one edge of one to help, and I'm like, oh, here, let me help you with that. And I try to get just like the most basic information, like the name of the woman. I already know their ship is the Firebrand. Basically, like who sent them out there? Like who did they work for? Just like not anything to be confidential. Just like what do we know you? Where did you come from? Kind of thing. Unless they're a super secret mission that they can't.
Would you like to study his answers, or do you just want at face value the words that come out of his mouth?
Yeah. I want to try. I'm trying to get from him leverage that I can use on her when I ask. When I try to extort money out of them for this rescue operation.
If you want to gather information about these people, I will tell you the words that he says, but I want you to tell me how you find out things or pieces of leverage.
Sure.
What skill would you like to use? Or what action?
I think I'm going to use consort. I'm being friendly and helpful and
you can
and you know, carrying stuff with them and doing all that stuff.
If you consort, you're going to find out superficial details, mostly unless you roll really, really well.
Okay.
Is that okay?
I think that's a good place to start. And if it turns out that, I mean,
if you're trying to fast talk them, get them to spill information or something, like Sway might get you a little bit more, Study might get you a little bit more, or even Doctor might get you a little bit more. But consort is fine.
Yeah. Let's go with Study. I think I'm chummy, but at the end of the day, I'm watching what they're saying.
Roll some bones.
Study. It's controlled.
There's no
gather
risk. It's a gather information. Yeah.
5.
Awesome. So I'm going to tell you what he tells you, and then I'm going to give you a few additional bits of information about what you detect. Is that cool?
Sounds great.
So when you go to pick up the box, it weighs like a lot. And when he picks it up, it weighs much less than it should. Now, you might write that off as this dude's super strong, but that's not all it is clearly.
Sure.
The change in weight is too sudden. But so he tells you that the person that Loren was talking to was chief scientist Rikara, who is not the captain of the ship. The captain was one of the people that was ripped apart, but is the leader of their expedition. And he tells you that he gives you some very superficial details. He basically tries to pretend that they're like, oh, we're just some guild scientists looking into stellar phenomena. We're totally not anything illegit or whatever. But like, again, you're reading into his words, and he's stressed and he's going through stuff. And he drops lingo, and the thing is that you've been around Boz long enough that you know what correct guild lingo is, and he's not using correct guild lingo. So just to give you some pieces of information, it's pretty clear that they're like an illegit science faction, and you've heard of people like this. In particular, their faction is known as the Sun Eaters.
Got it. I know. Nice.
Awesome. Cool. That is perfect amount of leverage for Faye to take back to Rikara. So
Awesome.
So as I'm talking to him, let's cut away to see what.
Cool. So what are you folks doing?
Lauren, are you talking to this scientist lead person? Is that kind of the thing in the moment?
Yeah, I think I'm talking to her and
Asking
asking
gonna
her.
interrupt.
Oh.
But what are you inquiring about?
What do you want to say so I can interrupt it?
Yeah.
I'm asking her how the evacuation is going. I'd like to set up a barricade between the way. So I want all of their people on our ship, close our door, close their door, barricade on this side, and
Great.
send Barhazuk in. So that's my goal, and I'm asking her how the progress is on that.
Great.
Essentially.
Boz is gonna roll over and like, despite being shorter than you, is going to put a hand on your shoulder and like lovingly like get you kind of out of the way. Excuse me, Lauren. And look at this person and like,
I don't think that Lauren really gets out of the way. Lauren definitely gives you this look like,
meh. Yeah.
what are you doing right now?
And Boz is gonna point to the boxes of science crap and be like, I will put holes in all of those. That stuff's not super important. Where's the life support and the stuff that actually matters? I know you're a really cool scientist. Let's go. Hurry up.
Cool. So are you going to so it sounds like you're commanding them to do a thing that you want.
Yeah, I feel like they're being sciencey first and survivally last.
That's probably true. Their
Yeah.
drives are focused, and they
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. All right. So this sounds like a controlled command.
Okay.
Because the bad thing that'll happen is you may not necessarily be able to take this tack forward.
Totally.
Or you might have to step up, like go to a risky position where you threaten them or something, with
Mhm.
like leaving them behind or something. But like right now, it feels like it's pretty controlled.
Right.
So controlled command. I don't know that you're getting an assist or anything.
I can't imagine at this juncture. Didn't think so.
Cannot.
So this is an apocalypse world where you can interfere instead of assist.
Right, right. All right, what's that look like? Nothing going. Completely flat.
I think that Rikara looks at you and says, I really appreciate what you're doing, but you need to understand that this is our life's work and we will not abandon it. If that means that you need to leave, then that means that you need to leave. But we are prioritizing what we're willing to die for. Maybe she's not that extreme. Now she'll say like, we're prioritizing what's really important to us. She's not drawing any lines in the sand yet. You
Great.
guys are saving their lives. So yeah. So essentially what this is saying is this tack's not gonna fly. You can
Great.
go in and grab the stuff yourself.
No. I will at that juncture like kind of look her. Is this a
Rikara,
Rikara's the woman, yeah.
okay? Kind of look her over and be like, we don't have a lot of food, so pick wisely because you don't know how long you're gonna be hanging out, and I'm not feeding you. And thanks, Lauren.
And as you walk away, I say, sorry about her. Hasn't been around a lot of people.
She's not down with that whole people thing.
Yeah.
No time.
Yeah, you hear a lot of them murmur and like look in surprise and confusion when Barhazuk like kind of like walks out, but he's seen how Urbots are treated in the hegemony, and he doesn't say or do anything terribly untowards. He's just very large.
Sure.
But yeah, he comes out and is basically waiting to see what the plan is.
Great. And I take him over immediately. I'm like, Barhazuk, this is Rikara. Rikara, this is Barhazuk. He might have some insight on the ship that you're trapped on. So if we can wrap up this section and send him on in, that would be ideal.
Cool. So unless anyone does anything else, they're going to transfer some boxes, and then we're going to get to the point where you guys are moving into their ship and maybe like moving towards the where the seal is to the actual like precursor ship down there. Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So Faye, you can return at any point.
Sure. Yep. I mean, she helped carry down a box, got some chit chat information, and sense where there might have been some duplicity, but is she can extort Riccara any old time. They're gonna be on a ship for a while. So yeah,
No hurry.
let's all go. Also, she's curious because the box said there was something here, so she's like, "What's here?"
So I have a few key questions for you. The first of which is, where is the box?
The box. Well, remember how when we got into the gravity well, I like clunked. Faye, off screen or whatever, closed it up and then stuck it in one of our smuggling compartments that are one of our concealed smuggling compartments. She doesn't want anyone, I mean, we knew we were picking up people, so she stuck it in a place where
it's hidden.
Yeah.
Awesome. I didn't know if you were bringing it with you to help you sniff out where the markers are or whatever.
I wouldn't have. Faye would not have thought that it would be that granular. Like she was like, "This is a star map. It doesn't do you any good when
sense.
Don't
have a problem with it."
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. So, what does it look like? Do you guys get some of them to come with you? Do you guys bring guns? Are you like creeping through a ship? Is this a kind of a spooky tense scene here where you're moving towards like where there might be killer robots, or like what are you doing?
Yeah, I imagine so, and you two correct me if you're feeling differently, but I imagine that like not all their systems are working great, so we have like flickering lights, and they're very green, much like the insides of their suits where those light up. So it's this like green flickering light and maybe kind of a blue glow on a lot of things.
The movie Alien comes to mind
Ooh,
right now.
yes,
absolutely.
That's so much.
Like later on in the movie, things are not going so well.
Yeah, we have some flashlights to light our way, so you just get these like cones of light.
And we're all, I mean, at least I am as heavily armed as I can be.
Cool. So what I'm hearing is this is a job. You guys have just selected heavy load, and you're all coming on board with Barhazuk, who's bringing his light on a stick with him. But most of you have some heavy blasters, and you probably have one or two of the people from the other ship also coming with you with their like purple suits and their green lights and everything. Yeah, you guys are moving towards like there are flickering systems. There are areas that are pitch dark. Occasionally you hear like the like a whine starts as like the drone on the outside of the ship that's ripping it apart like penetrates another layer, and it gets closer and closer. So yeah, as you approach the section, like there's like sealed doors, and like sometimes there's like stuff on them, and like you move a couple apart, and like the first section you go through, you're like, oh, okay, they haven't burst through yet. But by the time you get to the second one, you see that like outside of the door is already like got that superheated, we cut through it with welders kind of look, and it's like completing. So what are you folks doing?
Well, I feel like this might be more of a boss move. I kind of feel like some explosives are in order.
How'd you know what I was thinking?
Yeah, I was thinking Faye has like a blaster trained on the door, but explosives are much probably better at getting them whatever's on the other side.
Boz, you tell me, what does this look like? Do you set up explosives such that when the door bursts open, they go off and they take out like however many you can, or do you like wait for them to cut through the door and then chuck it in? What is this?
It's gonna end up being like a wait for the door to clang, like as the door like clangs to the ground, like chuck in an explosive. Because
is this a physical action? I ask because
yeah,
I know that the Muscle has a detonator launcher as one of their items that they can bring to a fight.
It's
nice.
True. It's true.
I also think if we want to condense it a little bit, like we would also then be unloading with blaster fire as well, and you could lead a scrap where you're chucking the grenade in, and we're following up to blast anything that might come through as well.
I don't know if like a group action scrap. And if you want, I could also roll for the Sun Eater Commandos, and they can help.
Sounds great.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm for it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so everybody roll scrap. Boz, if you're leading, you're going to eat scrap failures.
Okay. We'll see how that goes. I've got...
you folks can push. Boz, In particular, a push is really powerful because that means that you become equivalent to a small gang in combat.
That's right. That's where we're at. Of course, I want to do that. It's long overdue for Boz to throw some weight around. If some
So
tumbly powers.
if you folks don't mind, take just 30 seconds and tell me, like, the door's gonna clang open and there's gonna be these like gangly, like multi-armed, but they have tools rather than like blasters, but they are like robots. They're like drones, right? So they step through and they're in configurations that you haven't seen before. They've got like weird flow to them and everything. And they come through and some of them skitter up on the ceilings and blame Sean. He said alien. Now I've got HR Geiger imagery in my head. Yeah, they're all like skittering on the ceilings, and like when they leap on people, they're using like drills and like cutting implements and stuff to attack them and whatnot. So what does this fight look like? What are you folks doing? Like when the camera pans on you for like 10 seconds, do we see you like screaming and shooting, or what do you do? So take it away, Boz. Since you're in the lead, you get the first call here. So.
Gorgeous. Boz is kind of tries not to smile too much. Is focused and actually really enjoying the conflict. That's like, oh look, something that I know how to win against, which is I break it. I'm bigger and meaner than the thing. And kind of this flicker between like this like really concentrated like pleasure in the task, and like you'll see right before the camera cuts, concern for crewmates.
Awesome. So we see like one of your crewmates maybe getting in trouble, and like you like leaping in with like a vibro knife or like an appropriately placed shot, like obviously looking out for him. Awesome. So I have to know, Lauren, you're not much of a fighter, but what does this look like from your end?
You've got a cool new what's the word? Perm? We just in the wrong place.
Well, one of the things that I have in my load is armor, so I think I'm definitely wearing my armor. And I think that Lauren's position in this is a little further back, and he also is heavily blastered, has lots of blasters, and you'll see him kind of, for the most part, watching where other people are and kind of shooting drones that are approaching them that maybe they don't even see. Like they're engaged in a fight here, and then there's someone coming from here, and he shoots that one.
Cool.
And is so doing mostly protective, and like maybe one drone will get on him and on his armor, and he like throws it off against the wall, but primarily is watching his crewmates and making sure that they're safe, and especially Barzug.
Last but not least, Faye. What does it look like?
Yeah.
Faye is using one of the, if assuming they have them, if these are like commando, she's picked up one of their heavy blasters, so she's using a rifle. And Faye is way more concerned with moving in fast than she is with destroying all the stuff. So she's like, all the shots of her are the ones where people are like, I'm protecting people. Yeah, the people they're protecting, that's Faye, because
Got it.
running
Gorgeous.
She's running in, taking like a pot shot or two, and then like moving forward and being like, okay, I think we had, it's clear here. So she's definitely like scouting and trying to advance much more than she is trying to like destroy everything in her path.
Nice.
Thus leaving plenty of targets of opportunity for y'all.
How
To
generous.
save her ass.
I'm just gonna say that Barzug has like construction equipment, so I have this like image of him like swinging around stuff and punching him, and then like eventually like when he stands up, he like opens, he's got like a crane for an arm, he opens it and just like metal rains out from like inside where he was like crushing it or whatever.
Nice.
Go ahead. So Boz, you're leading. This is gonna be a scrap roll for everyone. Let me know if you're pushing yourself, which I think you can't assist unless you're out. According to the 8-1 rules, you can only assist if you're not involved in a group action.
Yeah, no.
So
we're all in it.
There's only pushes.
Okay.
So let me know if you do take to stress, and I will point out one thing, Boz. You are Battleborn. You can choose to mark your special armor in order to get a free push. So
you know what? I will go ahead and do that, because then I won't spend the stress on that, and I can save it for later. Awesome. Yes, thank you.
All right. So go ahead, everyone, toss your dice, and we'll see
Cool.
where we're at.
Right.
And this is
What's the
risky.
position?
Risky.
I think that it's only risky because there's so many of you, and you're prepared for the assault, and you have appropriate weapons. So
Great.
it's only risky. You're not desperate yet.
And our effect?
Standard. You're gonna take apart this entire small fleet of Urbots. There will probably be more sent from somewhere inside the ship, but not right away.
Space robots.
They're not Urbots. They're
Yeah,
just
they're drones.
drones.
These
Yes,
are drones.
They have no souls.
Drones.
They do
You're
not.
not killing people.
Absolutely correct.
All right.
So-
Well, Faye will come in with the nice standard 4. I don't cause you stress.
Woohoo!
So I
Oh, wait.
oh,
What? Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's okay.
So you'll take 1 stress so far, and let's see how you do here.
Oh, not good. Amazing.
You're gonna take 2 stress so far. Let's see.
well,
If,
at least we've got a 4 though. At least we have a success.
Okay.
And the
that
commandos.
might mean that everyone's taken wounds. So let me double check the
Yeah, we might all take wounds, but we blast.
It's all right.
See if the commandos can pull out a 6.
Yeah.
actions. It is possible because, believe it or not, they're pretty
Okay. 2
high up.
stress for me.
Sun Eaters are high, but I'm going to say that they're not fighters, they're conscientists, and they're also lower in numbers. All right, I'm going to give him 3 dice.
Cool.
Does Barhazak get a different roll?
Yes. Crit.
Oh,
And
Yes.
I know exactly what that crit is here. I'll tell you in a second.
Nice.
I don't have the fancy little U with the carrot on top, but you'll know what I mean here when I do it. And Barhazak does not cause you stress. He does his part. All right, cool.
Brad.
hey,
So
I have a.
there's this moment when things look a little hairy and like
Mm-hmm.
some armor gets like scuffed up and like Barhazak's maybe got like 3 people on him and like Boz is not able to like keep people off of all of her friends quite as much.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this moment where one of the Sun Eaters with that green sigil
Mm-hmm.
like there's just steps forward and does this like hand gesture and all of the like green lights completely go out and there's this like weird like feeling that everybody has almost like you're on a roller coaster and you're about to go over the drop and then like you just see like a couple of the Urbots get like shoved back so like and then like
Drones.
drones, thank you. My own right. But yes, clearly the Sun Eater is displaying mystic powers. So
There's
this
our
is the
bird.
thing that happens, does a cool gravitic thing, and then
Nice. Nice.
that buys you enough space and time to finish the fight. in
Nice.
a
Fantastic.
traditional manner.
Awesome.
So yeah, so that's that.
about-
Nobody takes any damage, except Boz, you're gonna take
2 stress.
2 stress.
Got it. Yep.
Josh, I have a mechanical question. That was a risky action that we rolled a 6 on, but we didn't roll a 6 on it.
it's okay.
So
So
we
the way it works is in a group action, it doesn't matter. You use the result of whoever rolled the highest.
cool.
Okay.
If you're willing to accept the stress, they could have all died. So because you take the 6, you have all together rolled a 6, and
Awesome.
that means that you are going to generate 1 gambit.
We
So,
get a gambit, yeah.
Woohoo.
And
And
the
that
other
means
thing is
We have
sorry.
2, right?
Yep.
you have 3 now.
No,
No,
I
it's
used
one.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You have 2 now. Sorry, I was the bad one. I haven't.
It's
No
okay.
worries.
We like your math just fine. What were
Okay.
you saying, Sean?
and my second thing is that since we critted, we got great we get additional effect. Can we do this quickly so that it takes longer before more
Yes,
speed robots
absolutely.
get us?
As a matter of fact, you advance small ways into the ship, and seeing you hear some more. Do you remember the roaring sound that I described? It sounds like something
Yes,
twisting.
the dragon.
Yes, the dragon. The dragon noise happens, and Barhazak finds a place, and you guys set up like a perimeter, and you like wall off a section. And you see like a couple of commandos like holding heavy blasters and everything facing down the corridors, and Barhazak basically like one of the Sun Eaters actually like, what are you doing? And it's like Barhazak like get some help, but you like essentially rip open a panel and he like cuts open what looks like some sort of tube, and a liquid that is akin to blood, like a dark liquid, like squishes out of it, and you can see some of the like glowing lines, and he literally like takes like a crowbar and like pops open like a section of his arm, and he sits down and he says, I'm gonna need you to protect my frame, friends. And he like you see the little tendrils start like growing, and like the Sun Eaters are like, what is he doing? He's like, is he trying to interface? He says, this is not even, how do you even, what is your Urbot? And like, they start like kind of like yelling a little bit.
I think they start yelling, and Lauren is like, man your stations. Like, just is like, you need to be with your blasters, making sure nothing bad happens.
Awesome.
Full Frank.
So they give you like this conversation is not over look. If you want, you can make a command roll. In which case this conversation will be over and they won't mention it again until they're out of the nebula.
Oh,
I
I
think
will.
You should totally make that command.
All right.
roll. Yeah.
Let's see that.
Position controlled?
Yes. Yes, the position is controlled.
Standard effect?
It is standard effect.
No bonus dice.
No bonus dice.
Meh. 4.
So how about we say limited result? The limited result is they will not question your commands until you get off this ship right now, but they'll talk about it as soon as you get back on your ship.
Okay.
Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. So you bark orders and he gives you like a look, but like nods and is like, all right, we don't have time to argue. We're in dangerous enemy territory. I'm going to listen to somebody that sounds like they know what the hell they're doing. And for a split second, like everybody pauses, there's a breath, and then Barhazuk's like head snaps up and he like twitches twice, and then his eye lights up brightly, and a voice that's clearly not his own comes out of his throat. And he says, "Organics, get me out of here." And I'm going to end the session there. Because we still have to do XP, which means we would go over if we kept having an adventure. So in good news, there are two things that I want to mention. One, all of you watching, it's okay to stop in the middle of a job. I promise. You don't have to end it. It's all the clocks are on the table. You can just pick it right up next time.
Especially when it's online and not in your table. And like,
and two, we already see our gambits and everything else. So you are going to get XP at the end of a session, but we're not going to finish the job until next time. So that's where I'm going to leave it.
It'd be great.
Cool. So let's do XP.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Who wants to go first?
Golly.
Lauren, you just did the cool things. How about you?
You did.
First.
That was lovely.
You just
But all cool and battle scarred and
shut
legit.
some peeps down.
Okay.
Poor burnt critter.
Desperate
Regular
actions.
crispy.
I don't think I rolled any desperate actions actually. I addressed a tough challenge with deception or influence. I feel like this little command was
just I was gonna say just now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was an important challenge because if they had messed with Barzok, we would be not able to have this conversation we're about to have. We wouldn't be able to progress in this way. So
yeah, because the Star Eaters are what I can't remember what they're about other than they're gonna extinguish a sun to power something, but I don't remember what.
They are so as a little preview for everybody, they have obviously not accomplished their goal, but they're a faction that is dedicated to creating or opening a new gate. They're trying to re-implement gate technology, and their latest idea is to take out a sun in order to fuel it. So
that'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be fine. Fine. All right, cool. So, Jerry, it sounds like I'm hearing 1 XP for influence and authority, like force of personality here. What's the next trigger?
My beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I think we saw some of my beliefs and drives with me going in and fixing the ship and not.
Yeah.
There.
Mm-hmm.
I think we also really cemented, if we had not in the previous session, you're still a little low volume wise, but I think we really cemented your allegiance to Conclave 01 and to Barzok. And
big time.
I felt that quite strongly.
Mm-hmm. That and
I definitely will say, like, also with the way that you were willing to sacrifice yourself so that Boz wasn't injured is like freaking huge. Like, I'm surprised that nobody else mentioned that for beliefs and drives right here, because like
No, sure. Mm-hmm.
to me that
Well-
was really deep.
Yeah,
So cool.
absolutely.
Dramas, which really didn't happen. I mean, I like insisted on getting the nice bunk.
I was gonna say you should take it for that, because that was like a thing where we
Yeah.
we had a whole crew sort of argument.
We had a crew
Um,
meeting, right?
mhm.
Like,
This XP specifically though is for like either, well, no, that is vice. Your vice is causing you complications. You had arguments with your
Yeah.
crew over wanting to be in
Mhm. You
luxury,
struggle
right?
with issues from your
And
vice.
even though I ignored it, I do owe Faye one from it.
Okay.
sure.
Yep, I agree. That's an XP.
Cool.
Sounds
Nice.
good.
Yeah.
All
Faye,
right.
whatever Faye asks you is going to be wildly disproportionate.
I
So
can't imagine that. That
so
wouldn't happen.
I need you to do this horrible thing because you owe me one.
Wait, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'll
Do it.
Let me get that on screen so folks can see it. All right. So mine are, I already grabbed my desperate, the one in the very beginning. You just a tough challenge with charm or audacity. I would like to say that I think flying through a solar flare is about as audacious as one gets. And we even skimmed even closer, taking the devil's bargain, blowing our heat shields out so that we could get past the pirates.
Yeah, also the game where you're playing like touchy blackout with a star map to like find your way. Like touch oh. That was, I mean, it's all a little related, but like that was all ridiculously like not wise, which is to say audacious.
I would like to say 2 for those.
Sounds great.
Into it.
You express your drives, heritage, beliefs, or background. So Faye had a really important goal this session, which was to be taken seriously and not to let her foolhardiness become her defining feature. Which is why I dropped 6 coin into having a plan. And it was really important for me that I had a plan that made sense, and it wasn't just like, let's just do it for funsies. It was like,
Mhm.
I did everything I needed to do so that this plan was actually legit and
So Sean, am I hearing that
reasonable.
6 cred equals 1 XP?
Well, I mean,
A little.
Buy your way to victory.
It, it also equates to like forestalling the boss being like, Faye, what the hell is wrong with you? Talk.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. So I wanted to take 1 for that, and then I also was really trying to play at being a scoundrel in the end. Like Faye is all about, sure, let's help Barzuk because they're our friends, and let's do all this stuff. But rando strangers that we're gonna put on our ship, they're gonna pay. I'm gonna find out stuff about them, and they're gonna pay us good cred to get them home safe.
mhm.
And that was definitely like, we're not all fluffy, hearty, nice people all the time. Like
Mhm,
we got to make a living too. You want us to be rescued, so I'm gonna take 1 for that. If that's
Great.
I
into it.
feel like you definitely showed a lot of beliefs and drives, from how you reacted to Loren taking the room to
Yeah.
how you deal with like what you're willing to hurt yourself over to save on the ship, to when you choose to pilot and not pilot, to just and how you're reacting to the box and other things.
yeah,
This was definitely a big showcase of a lot of Faye's beliefs for me.
nice. Thank you.
Mhm.
I didn't struggle with my vice traumas. I mentioned that I wanted the room with the lock, but that wasn't a struggle. That was just like, that was a bit of flavor. But yeah.
Future bad.
What's that?
Future bad.
Future bad, exactly.
Future bad. I mean, depending on your perspective.
Yeah.
Cool. So Boz, you're last up.
All right. So I think address a tough challenge with force or threats. I mean, we got to choppity chop and shooty shoot some good robots. That's a pretty great day.
I also feel like you made some command rolls, and one of the things that this XP doesn't necessarily come for is rolling well. So
Cool.
like if you attempt to solve a problem and your rolls just don't come up sixes, that's okay.
That's not
still
the
addressing the problem with
Yep.
forced threats.
nice.
So we saw business buzz a little bit more, including being kind of commanding at Loren about the room.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
That was like the first part of being grumpy about Faye being a loose cannon. Just taking it out on Lauren because everyone's
Yeah.
assuming like everything around, like both that and the folks coming on the ship with their stupid science equipment.
Yeah. No, that was good.
People making like bad decisions and nobody's like everyone's just kind of doing their own thing and they're all in Boz's way or like assuming and kind of like pressuring Boz to have to deal with their crap, which is in this case being rude, Lauren, or being rude, illegitimate space scientists.
Yeah. Well, people who are going to potentially put us in a health hazard by not having enough food, not having enough supplies because they care more about other things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the common thread between all of those is that Boz has the common sense to say, let's be practical in the face of all these people who are just following their whims and not really paying attention to the consequences thereof.
Sure. The end results, the mouths to feed, if you will, right? So I guess there's definitely some like force and threats and being grumpy at people, and so
cool.
Yep.
that
I'm
Take
hearing 2 XP there, and
I'm into
also
that.
beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. I saw a lot of beliefs and drives.
Yep.
So
I also feel like what we were just talking about as far as you being annoyed with people who are prioritizing other things other than survival has a lot to do with your background too. Because it feels like you experienced a lot of scarcity, and that
Sure.
informs that so much, that
Right.
desire to be like, we need to take care of people. You're not bringing food. You're crazy. Like,
How you
what?
excuse me? Sure,
Yeah.
absolutely.
awesome.
I'm into
And also, I mean, again, just how you're dealing with creating peace on the ship, how you tell who can take what room, where Burden sleeps, dealing with Bar Hazook and stuff like that speaks to me a lot about your beliefs and drives.
Sure.
The fact that you're how you're willing to like protect Loren, whether you're willing to risk your own ship and existence in order to save randos in the middle of a star field. A lot of that is beliefs and drives to me as well.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Those things they're important. Cool. All right. I'm feeling that. Can't think of anything else like in particular. I mean, there's
that's 2 XP, I think, for beliefs and drives for sure.
And I don't know that you struggled with vice or traumas here.
I don't think so. There wasn't anything there with either like that community oriented pleasure or like Cobalt Syndicate stuff. Obligations. But I look forward to getting back to a comm and doing some research on where everything stands someday.
Probably once you get to Amarath. Amarath's a very civilized planet, at least in the cities, but we'll see. All right, so cool.
Nice.
All that's left is ship XP.
Yeah.
So let's.
I filled up my insight, by the way, and took another triangle of study. Since
Nice.
I've been doing that a lot recently.
That does seem to be Faye's thing. So
yeah,
Super cool.
Figuring people out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So the ship is execute a successful transport or smuggling operation. I do not think we. I mean,
not this time. No,
we're on it. We're doing it. We're
almost there, but like halfway doesn't count.
Contend with challenges above your current station.
2 XP.
I'm gonna say dos.
I think we do that on the regular.
Yeah. Well, that's the great thing about being the bottom of the tier. Everybody's bigger than you. So that wraps us around. We were one away, so now we're one over. So we're gonna get a crew advance.
Okay.
Bolster your crew's reputation and develop a new one. If the Star Killer people survive, I think we should have bolster a reputation with them because we pulled their
Absolutely.
asses.
I feel like so your current crew reputation is ambitious.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you got a new reputation? I could hear maybe loyal to our friends because you're also going out of your way to help the conclave.
Yeah.
but you could just keep ambitious and say like, okay, everything we did this session was super ambitious. If we want to discuss 2xp for that.
I think loyal is spot on. I was thinking something exactly like that because we've been very loyal to Barzuk and helping him out, but we also like haven't. Well, in this particular episode, we
Mhm.
definitely stuck to our guns. We didn't drop the one mission to make another one, and I think it makes a lot of sense.
Cool.
What do you think?
And then so 2xp for that. And finally, express the goals, drives, inner conflict, and essential nature of the crew. I know it's kind of cheesy, but you folks were rocking it, and all that we've mentioned, from the superficial sounding like little squabbles on top of the crew to the fact that you consult with each other before you attempt crazy jumps into the center of like stellar matter and whatnot.
Lauren getting a face perm.
Yeah, that was so intense. Like
That's a big deal.
right?
But
So yeah,
I also think, at least for within the crew,
Yeah.
like Faye making the effort to have a well thought out plan
Yes. Oh my goodness.
made a
Mhm.
huge difference to Lauren. Like that's
She wants to be respected, and she wants
Villainy.
to not keep fucking things up. And she knew since the moment we landed on Lithios, Faye was just a giant fuck up. She was just freaked out about
Mhm.
going home. She was freaked out about getting a clone. She was freaked out about her
Yeah.
nightmares. Like all that stuff was super traumatic to her. And she played it as just being an idiot and just being high all the time, but it was traumatizing and she was hiding from all of it. But nevertheless, it caused a lot of tension that she didn't want to cause in the crew. So she is trying to make amends. So I'm glad that
Without acknowledging any of
Without
this, of
acknowledging,
course,
yeah,
because we couldn't
completely.
speak to them.
No, without saying any of that. Yes, exactly.
yeah.
Superb.
so I feel like it's the 2xp there, which I think Shania already
Yep, I just
registered.
marked it.
Awesome. So whenever your crew advances, which you did, all of you will earn, I believe it's crew tier +2 stash,
Mhm.
Yep.
which I think is 2 stash for
I
you.
was gonna say that's 2 right now because we're big old Zeds.
Yep.
Yep. Stash equal to 2 plus crew quality. Yep. And then you can get upgrades. So let's talk about upgrades. You can get 2 boxes. You can get 1 special ability on your crew sheet. You can gain 1 crew quality if you spend 4 times the new crew quality in cred, or you can get a ship quality: engines, hull, comms, or weapons.
Oh gosh, this is always kind of difficult because
Well,
there's just so many options right offhand. What are you thinking?
I would like to propose the getaway. You gain potency when you scramble or helm to avoid capture or run a blockade. When doing a delivery job, take +1D on the engagement roll. Because everything we have done has been scrambling and flying to avoid capture, and
Mhm.
and we're also doing a delivery job at least twice. So
Sound
it does eat up both of them because it's a special move, but I feel like it's a real it's really
appropriate
consistent
to
with what we do a lot of, which is
Yeah.
run the heck out of there.
I will also not, just to give you something to discuss or maybe look at as a potential second option. We've been talking about how your comms suck.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
getting slightly better comms, which then opens up the ability to get things like fake transponders, quantum encryptors, or a Nexus link, so you can actually communicate with everyone off your ship. This is
Mhm.
also a thing that could be on the deck. Now, mind you, you may level up next time when you're on a planet. It makes more realistic sense to get some better comms installed. Maybe the getaway now, maybe that later. But I just wanted to put some ideas on your plate so that there's
Mhm.
some debate.
Yep.
I would the comms is definitely like it catches my eye as a thing that like we're like, oh, we can't talk to anybody. So put that on the second course, maybe, even though it's
Sure.
not a thing right now.
Well, right now we're 3 XP away from the next advance. So there is no way that I can fathom that next session we won't get another advance. So
Great.
if we wanted to wait until we were at dock to do comms, I'm sure at the end of the next session we'll be able to do.
Great.
We'll be able to do it. So Yeah, so but there are tons of other cool things too. I mean, there's lots of field repairs. You gain potency when repairing your ship while in space, which you just did.
I
There's a
feel
lot.
pretty. Go ahead.
No, I should say there's lots of good stuff.
There's so much good stuff, but I think like the getaway, like
Like the idea of the getaway now and comes next time.
Sounds like we have an accord.
Awesome. I'm marking it.
rad.
Did everybody put everyone put a coin in their stash?
It's two
Two.
stash.
Yeah, coin. Two. Sorry, raise your
Two
stash.
ticks in your stash.
Yeah, it's my first 2 ticks now.
Again.
Again.
Okay.
All right, awesome sauce.
Super.
And with that, we close out session 5 of actual play. Scum and Villainy Stardancer. And
Awesome.
Oh, so
Sean,
good.
what is our next game so that everyone watching knows?
Oh yeah, good call. Let me check the calendar real quick. It's going to be in 2 weeks. It's going to be June 22nd. We'll be back.
Awesome. And hopefully you'll join us and or catch us on YouTube afterwards.
Sure.
And we'll see you then.
Also, I'm going to give one short pitch because I'm here. All of these amazing people, these great people, are going to be at a couple conventions coming up.
It's
We're all going to be in
true.
Copa Northwest in July, and we're also all going to be at Big Bad Con in October. And if you are interested in coming to either of them, I think GoPlay, you can still get tickets from their
You
site.
can.
And the Big Bad Con Kickstarter is running right now. You can get tickets there, but you can also get cool things like Little Red's Basket or being a basket of treats to your gaming table, which is
Sean
awesome.
gets so excited about
I
delivering.
know that it sounds
the
like
best.
if you're like, oh, what, we get some snacks. But let me tell you, when you're sitting in the middle of a table with 6 people and somebody shows up and they have the most delicious home-baked cookies and ginger snaps and special drink, like they have like drinks and stuff in there too. And all of a sudden, your whole table's like, well, how do I get one of those? If you're particularly generous, and you don't have to be, but if you're particularly generous, you share with your GM who was not wise and didn't get Little Red's Basket last year. Then your GM is very grateful and will get a Little Red's Basket this year. So
Yeah.
It's
It
good
is
times.
truly a
Spread the
magical
joy.
experience.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
All right.
it's pretty awesome.
So come to either, both, all the above, and come hang with us.
Come join us. All right.
And also, please, if you're there in person, just stop by, say hi. We'd love to
Yeah,
meet you.
totally.
So.
We're all nice people and none of us bite.
Really.
Yes,
We're
I'd
not
say.
actually from space. So.
Turns out.
Space robots. Night all.